YouTube has decided to not share my videos with everyone who subscribes. Please follow me on social media to stay up to date. Zombieland is aiming for a 2019 release with the original cast. Now, in 2008? 2009 is when Zombieland came out, right? Fall 2009. This movie kind of came out of nowhere, right? Just here's this movie, Zombieland, Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, Abigail Breslin, and it was just a fun, crazy movie that I really wanted to see them to do more with. Now, it says here, does anyone remember when you weren't sick of zombie movies or zombie jokes? It seems like it was a long time ago, and it turns out that it actually was. The zombie craze was hitting peak volume 10 years ago when Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick penned a little movie called Zombieland in 2009. The movie featured some big up-and-coming stars at the time like Emma Stone, Jesse Eisenberg. The cast and crew have always said that they wanted to do a sequel, but no one has really talked about it for several years. And since the zombie craze has died down a bit in the last 10 years, but Reese and Wernick told Vulture that they're hoping for an October 2019 release with the original cast, saying here, we're going on the 10th anniversary of Zombieland. Wernick told Vulture. Zombieland came out in October 2009. We don't know what you'll get someone for the 10th anniversary, but it may be a Zombieland 2. Though he hedged that with a maybe, it seems like it's not so far from a will be. The hope is that we're shooting the thing in early 2019 for an October of 19 release, Wernick added, then tossed in a few more good news for devotees with the original cast, by the way. So this has been a thing for a while, from my understanding. We've heard talks of Zombieland 2 for quite some bit. There was, was it 2013 when Amazon had their pilot season and they actually commissioned a pilot episode of Zombieland and they ran it during their first pilot season. The show ultimately never got picked up. A lot of people criticized it for not being as aesthetically pleasing as the movie. It didn't have Ruben Fleischer's flair, nor did it have the same camaraderie that the original cast brought to the table. But ultimately, I felt the show had legs, and it was definitely self-aware, and it definitely was working towards becoming something that they could ultimately, you know, turn into a good series. Amazon did pass on it, which I did feel was a mistake, but ultimately I got it, and the project kind of died off from there. But then we were hearing talks of Zombieland 2 a while later. And the cool thing with Zombieland is that it was always kind of meant to be a TV show. That's why there were the zombie kill of the week and those kind of little jokes kind of peppered throughout it. It was meant to harken back to its original concept. So much so that I think the Sci-Fi Channel show Z Nation really kind of took a lot of inspiration from Zombieland in terms of the over-the-top nature of zombie killing and really threw that into the show. Like when they used the Liberty Bell as basically a gigantic boulder smashing zombies, you know, in Z Nation. And so they took a lot of inspiration from Zombieland, and I kind of hope Zombieland doesn't really take any inspiration from Z Nation, but that Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese really kind of bring their A game on this one, because I do feel that the first one was definitely kind of like I don't want to call it a fluke. I think it did very well as a good movie, but it was something that I don't think a lot of people realized was going to be as much of a hit as it was. But that being said, keep in mind that after Deadpool came out, right? After Deadpool came out and it was a hit, they were, you know, given a movie of their choice, and that was actually Life from Sony with Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal that came out a year ago. That kind of felt like a prequel to the Venom movie, interestingly enough, or a kind of alien knockoff sort of thing, and it ultimately failed to connect, and the reviews weren't very good. But now, if this is what's happening as a result of Deadpool 2's success, or the, I guess you could say, the perceived success that will be happening with Deadpool 2, as I previously mentioned, it is on track to open up to about $350 million worldwide, meaning that there are going to be studios knocking on Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese's doorsteps, going like, "Hey guys, you have any projects you wanna do?" So I'm pretty sure in the process of getting to this particular point, when they're going to have that capital within Hollywood to be able to pick a passion project that they want, that they probably were already speaking with Sony about trying to get this particular project off the ground. Now, Sony, on the other hand, interestingly enough, finally has found themselves earning a little bit of money. They were definitely on the downward slope for a while, especially with the failure of 2016's Ghostbusters. But the success of Spider-Man and what was it, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle actually brought brought them back into the black. So this could be them saying, look, we got a little bit extra funds. We did okay last year. Obviously, these guys did very well with their movie. Let's try to find a way to make this stuff work. So I would assume, and this is a big assume, that even though the original cast might come back for Zombieland 2, you're probably going to see some other additions to that, maybe such as Ryan Reynolds, or maybe other people that were associated with not only Deadpool, but other things that they've worked on as well, just because they're going to try to create, I think, that type of ecosystem of like, oh, you know, because there's a lot of meta humor in Zombieland, a lot of meta humor in Deadpool, so it's possible that they'll bring it back together. But the real question here is going to be, who's going to direct it? Right? Now, who's going to direct it? Is it going to be Ruben Fleischer? I mean, he went off of Zombieland and 2 years later did 30 Minutes or Less, which was a horrible movie that was based upon a 2003 incident or 2002 incident in Erie, Indiana, where a pizza delivery boy, man, was killed after having a bomb strapped to his neck and told to rob a bank, even though it was all a ploy he was in on. The movie parodied that event while still making it an original story. You can now watch Evil Genius, a documentary series on Netflix that does chronicle that particular situation in great detail, and it's quite fascinating. At the same time, you also have Venom coming out this fall, and I'm wondering if the success of Venom will either push Ruben Fleischer to come back into doing this movie, or if Sony likes him well enough, well, then they just go, oh, do Venom 2. But there's also Gangster Squad, which, let's be realistic here, nobody wants to talk about Gangster Squad anymore. So with any luck, Zombieland 2 will be a fun movie. At this point, all I care about is it being a fun movie. It doesn't even need to have the original cast anymore. It just needs to be entertaining, and that's all I really want at the end of the day.